Well, hello everybody, and welcome to this week's Metaworld News. This is the news for the week ending the 9th of September of the year 2018. For the benefit of you long-term archivists out there who are checking up on this long after I'm dead and gone. Right, this in the show we look at various computer interfacing tools, especially those to do with virtuality and virtual worlds. And well, any haptic things and stuff that relates to that. And then in the second half of the program, we actually look at the metaverse, which is the world of online virtual worlds, immersive spaces where you can do things together, collaborate, explore, whatever you want, really, as the song goes. Whatever you want, whatever you want. Whatever you want. Well, it always was when this wasn't it?
Oh wow.
Right. You know the one. I think you know the one
I
I
think
mean.
so. Yep, yep, yep.
Status quo. That's the if you can call them a band. Right. Okay. So you can follow me on Twitter. My main email indeed handle is twitter.com/malburns. MALBURNS. All one word on Twitter, though it's two separate words in real life, so to speak. And we have an additional feed, which is twitter.com/MetaWorld News, as in the name of this program. That one is the one that contains metaverse specific type posts, whereas the my main one, oh, anything I like, basically. Or anything that fits. All
Right.
the news that fits.
Perfect.
I think I've nicked that off Rolling Stone. All the news that fits. In the old days. Anyway, let's get on with it. Let's get on with it. You don't want to hear me blabbering. You never know. I might start opinionating, and that's no go.
That's right.
Right. 5 days ago, how USB-C and Virtual Link. Virtual Link is a new sort of cable connection thing, which is actually based on USB-C, but is more specific. So, how USB-C and Virtual Link could play a part in you know who's next VR headsets. You know who is Facebook. Yep. Apparently, everything new is going to impact Facebook's operations, and this is most important for us to know. No mention of Facebook's competitors here at all. The connector is backed by Oculus, Valve, Nvidia, AMD, and Microsoft to transfer data, power, and the virtuality headsets display information all over a single wire. Anyway, this particular article, which you'll find at uploadvr.com, is particularly looking at it in relation to the Facebook. Sorry. Right, let's get to
Mm-hmm.
a page with more recent stuff on it. 5 days ago, to Linden Lab, they're the people that make both Sansar, which is one of the new virtual world platforms, and Second Life, of course, which you can't. That's been going a couple of centuries now, so you've probably heard of it. Linden Lab and other social VR companies are being sued over virtual reality patents. Um, this is a post 5 days ago at ryanschultz.com. That's ryanschultz.com. I have a feeling I mentioned this last week, so that's probably an earlier post before Ryan picked it up. Um, Basically, there is a company out there, and it makes you wonder what they've been doing for 20 years. I think they're what you call a patent troll. Um, they basically seem to think that they have a patent on the description of virtuality that means everybody from Second Life and presumably even earlier worlds have been doing a naughty and pinching their, patent, um, which is complete bullshit in any sane world. Why weren't they going on about this when Linden Lab launched Second Life, or when what was it? There.com even predates that. Um, I, I don't wish them luck at all, but in a sort of cynical way, I wish them luck. I don't know how you can possibly sue all these companies for who have literally pioneered virtuality. The company suing, of course, has the patent, but it's got no products of its own. Oh, go figure. Only in America, I suspect. Right. Um, uploadvr.com again, 6 days ago. Some comments from the CEO of Sony talking about VR. saying you will see the change and improvement. I think in that case, talking about PlayStation, but also I think the conversation sort of, was he was talking not just about Sony's products, but VR and changes and stuff in general. Voices of VR.com a couple of days ago. Number 693. This is a podcast, by the way. Very good one. I haven't listened to this particular one, but it's about pain management and other medical applications of virtual reality. The theory here is the immersion of VR, especially in headsets, can do things like redirect your mind so that your mind is no longer focused on the pain signals, electrical signals in your body. It basically refocuses its attention and doesn't stop pain, but it stops you being. The idea is it stops you being aware of it so much. Anyway, yeah, we'll talk about that on the Voices of VR.com. Right. This one is from road2vr.com. That's all one word, road to VR. Two is spelled TO, not a number or anything. Orpheus. This is from 4 days ago. I think we had something similar on last week. So, Orpheus, Orpheus Technodelics is publishing consciousness hacking VR experiences. I I always read that out as technodildonics. That's I'm getting confused with one from
Oh
last
yeah.
week, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, anyway, sound self-developer Robin Alcott is starting a publishing label called Orpheus Technodelics, right, to curate and distribute consciousness hacking VR experiences. Um, I think the idea is to basically create experiences that are effectively digital psychedelics, aimed at opening someone's mind to commit a deeper contemplative process practices. This is well, there's nothing new about this. Tim Leary was doing it back in the 80s, I think, figuring out ways of making digital stuff replace chemicals, for want of a better word. Anyway, new developer happening there. Find out more at road2vr.com. Um, right now, this one's quite interesting in the general sense. Apple, who don't really have any going products per se, in AR VR at the moment, have bought the augmented reality display company called Aconia Holographics. And most people are speculating that around the year 2020, Apple never seemed to be in too much of a hurry with anything really new. They are working on some kind of glasses, probably not headset, but glasses, and strategically buying this display company and for holographic type displays could be part of their strategy there. You can read more about that at virtualrealitytimes.com, and that's all one word. So it's virtual reality times, all fully spelled in nice long letters to make it hard for you. But basically, there you are. They should call themselves VRT.com, really, shouldn't they? But
Mm-hmm.
who knows? Virtualitytimes.com. Right, uploadvr.com, back again. This is actually recent. This is last 23 hours. Why is everything out of order here? Company called Veer VR. The Veer bit is VEER. So I guess it's Veer VR or VR sort of thing. If you understand. Why do people do this? Anyway, Veer have launched an experience tool for VR content creation. You can read more about that at uploadvr.com. I'm actually going to open that quickly. I haven't opened any other links here, but I'm actually going to quickly open that one um, just to refresh my memory here on exactly what is on offer. Um, of course, saying I was going to open that page is kind of dependent on Microsoft cooperating, and they're not going to, are they? Oh no, finally Windows, as in Dozy, has got round to it. Right, here we are. It's a free web-based virtual reality content creation tool, so you have to use it on the web as part of an effort to get users to create more content within the VR global VR content community. Um, 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 Okay, this kind of seems to be like a YouTube for both 360 video, photo panoramas, and anything VR that can be embedded by the look of it. The VR industry is lacking quality content, but with the proper tools, we'll be able to empower creators to produce more high quality, engaging VR content easily, says their CEO. By, guess what, utilizing their platform. What else? What else would they be talking about? Okay, it doesn't really tell you much here, except that yes, you can use their platform to do it, and you can do this, and you can do this, and you can do this. VR experience videos and photos work on the web, mobile, and major VR headsets, including Oculus Go, Oculus Rift, HTC Vive, Gear VR, Google Daydream, Windows MR, Windows MI, Windows VR, and more. Gosh golly, there must be a lot these days. And they mentioned the investors, Bertelsmann, blah, Samsung are one of their investors. They got 70 employees, etc., etc. Um, could be hype. There's certainly somebody, how should I say, to be keep an eye on. But I guess it would be up to you whether what they have on offer is of use to you. And they don't make any mention at all about exportability. In other words, whether they actually offer you tools to make a nice little room for yourself or something, but then refuse to let you export it to any other place. That's not going to help you very much at all, is it? So check them out if you want. Right, virtual reality news.net has a post about how virtual reality is helping art galleries and real estate businesses with their customer experience. I really find the bundling of those. This is really rather obvious. We've had plenty of posts about how the art galleries use virtual reality and real estate do. The odd thing about this title is it's actually grouped the two together as sort of as if they were similar businesses. I suppose there are commonalities, but maybe they just think that art galleries and real estate businesses are, prime candidates. And Anyway, it is helping. You can obviously visit an art gallery in virtual reality and see virtual replicas hanging on walls, or you can visit an empty building that you're thinking of renting or buying and see how it looks naked. And I won't say anything about the porn business because that's not in this article. Think you're naked, you see. Yes.
Gotcha.
Okay,
Gotcha.
okay. Gotcha. Yes. Virtual reality dash news net again. VR headset shipments go down year on year, but it's only a blip, claim the IDC. I don't know who the IDC are. We get too much of this stuff all the while. Although I know it is true that headset shipments and sales are actually falling. Um, uh, but it's like software and hype, isn't it? Sort of. I think everybody who's going to be talked into buying a headset has obviously already probably got one by now, of one kind or another, and that you have a kind of plateau situation, and until the content goes up and people really have a use for it, I don't think they're going to get um, massive boost. The article does mention things like education spaces like Microsoft HoloLens as a service initiatives and initiatives coming along that they think will revive it. Um, Standalone VR headsets grew, in fact, by 417%, thanks to the newly available Oculus Go and Xiaomi Mi VR. Give me a name I can pronounce, please.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, okay. Well, if you want to read about that and find out the spelling of names that can't be pronounced, go to virtuality-news.net. And yes, that's it for the general sort of news. So from there, I'm going to move it. Well, actually, I'm just going to kind of quick butchers into the absolute recent stuff here in case I've missed anything. Um, Too many to choose without marking highlights. Oh, here we are. Wired UK. Wired.co.uk has an article. Can anything save us from the terribleness of virtual reality? And it has a photograph of, well, I think it's an Oculus. It may be a Go or another one. I don't know. Um, where are we? This film. Okay, I don't know if that's truly VR. MWM Studios adapt a VR experience called Our Vena as an animated feature. This is at HollywoodReporter.com. This is kind of a photo panoramic thing. It features a young woman who became the first ever female shaman of the indigenous Yawa people in the Amazon. I'm not doing very well today when it comes to actually choosing to read out things I need to pronounce, am I?
Well, challenging spellings, that's for sure.
Challenging, yes.
Yeah.
Can virtual reality make you a better person? Dash above the noise. This is a site called Video Dot. Uh, here's another unpronounceable sorry, Video Dot KQED.org. Um,
Oh, that sounds like a radio or television station. The call letters in the United States.
oh, it could, yeah, actually,
And I think that's a
yeah,
public
there's a
television.
warning saying, yeah, there's
Yeah.
a warning saying you try to add the video to your watch list, but so you can watch it later. But first, you need to sign up to PBS
Ah, there you are.
using one of the services. So yeah, you have a very useful link. Click on this, and it will get you into an entanglement of signing up and doing stuff like that. So maybe don't follow that link. Right. Edsurge.com, that's EDSURGE, education obviously, how AR and VR can make students laugh and cry out loud and embed them in their learning. Gosh golly. Um, okay, I'm doing some scanning here because I can't possibly. I mean, bad news for Facebook's Oculus. The virtual reality market fell for a second consecutive quarter. Oh, I love this. This is at a site called fool.com.
Hmm.
FOOL.com. Um, it's the wrong time of year for it to be in April. So go figure. Right, it's got a picture of the Oculus Go on it. And then obviously beaming face underneath. It's funny, you can't really tell anything about the person because you can't see their eyes, which is a real giveaway. Right, AR and VR set to become mainstream in business operations during the next 3 years. That is Great Gains. That's a site called capgemini.com, CAPGEMINI.com. Um, uh, okay, a lot of individual people releasing VR stuff at this point. HTC's Vive will have a wireless adapter, which is due for release very shortly, and can be pre-ordered already. So if you want, what do they call it? An unentangled, untethered. If you want to go untethered with your Vive, you would need to get this adapter, and that will allow you to do it. Um, more stuff on the classroom. Read. What is Ravenswood? Okay, I'm giving up there. The one I'm reading has got too much coming in all at once, really. So that was the headlines in that section. Right, I'm now going to move to my feed for Metaworld. Now, big news of the week, I think, is High Fidelity. Philip Rosedale's new virtual world platform has been running a lot of load tests recently. Basically, it's been on the first Friday of each month, including yesterday, and not yesterday, but well, anyway, the Friday just gone. And there were well over 200 on a single region on the previous one. This one reached a maximum of 356 people in one single domain. So yeah, I think before it had even started, they'd already broken the record for last month's test. So word is getting around, and people are diving in there to help out. And there was a little trivia game beforehand, and just to make it a bit more entertaining. 356 people in a single VR domain is good news indeed. And
Yeah.
um, if there is a kind of overload or the server is stressed, everybody sort of disappears at once. Not the region, but just everybody becomes bubbles. But within seconds, I mean literally microseconds, they are back. You know, so there were a few glitches where the server was obviously balancing its load, But I mean, it was quite remarkable just wandering around, chatting like you would chat in a big room in real life. And some people are complaining about not being able to make friends properly and shake hands and stuff. But I mean, quite frankly, you know, you don't go to a party with 356 people in real life or anywhere else if you want some private conversation, do you? Of course, there's a racket in the background. But of course, if you walk up to the person you want to talk to, then you can be reasonably sure their voice will be louder than anybody else's. But obviously, the realism in this experience, as it were, um, I guess people who are used to virtual worlds having limitations are probably quite not used to the idea that there are no limitations on this particular one, at least not when it comes to voice. Anyway, it was a great success, I think. Um, I Oh, right. Oh, okay. I have a link here. It's actually going to something called KoalaCom, but I think that's a 3D. I think that's a 360 video hosting site, which actually contains the video. You can find on YouTube too. There are videos of the event, just to prove that there really are 356 visible, walking, talking, bleating avatars in situ, and what do they call it in the music business? I think, the stave dive, where the lead singer dives into the audience and
Oh,
everybody
right.
carries him on their hand.
Yep.
Well, Philip Rosedale did quite a few stage dives. Unfortunately, the ability of the avatars to hold their arms up and hold him did not quite happen as predicted. So his stage dives tended to land him in the middle of the audience somewhere. But at least you tried.
Yeah,
Thought it was a
interesting.
good.
Wow.
Obviously, thought it was a good idea, and the actual dive happened quite adequately. Just the landing didn't. Right. what can I say?
Right.
Uh, a week ago, motherboard.vice.com had a post. A second out life avatar creator is selling virtual stretch marks, cellulite, and boob veins. Do you want to know more? Don't know. You really do know, really. Um, okay, simulcasting with. Right. Okay. In my feed here, you will find various embeds for YouTube. You've got the high fidelity load VR load test. There are two separate ones there. There's the big bit and the small bit. And actually, there's I don't know why, but for some strange reason, I actually know I've posted a lot more to the Metaworld feed this week than is actually showing up here. It goes from one day to 1 week ago in one fell swoop. And a couple of entries here that don't, these are going to Twitter and don't have any content. Okay, slight problem there. So that's it for now. There have actually been several articles this week, especially that I've re-sent up actually from places like Google Plus, which I'm loading here too. And it's not showing me any content there either. I think Flipboard's having a bit of a day of it. Right, okay, so I'm going to just turn this way and stop looking at anything and just talk. Um, a lot of news really about the Inworlds platform, which of course we lost a few weeks ago, is now replaced by oh God, I've forgotten what it's called. There's another one with a Z on it. But there've been quite a few blog posts looking at sort of where people are going. Some are going to particular paid commercial grids on the open metaverse. Some are hanging around with one of the two former grid in-worlds operators who are setting up separate things. One of them is the replacement for InWorlds is not hypergrid enabled, whereas there's another one which will be hypergrid enabled. They're two separate ventures by different people. But also, there have been some interesting reports this week on there's some very big community that was in Second Life called Elf Clan, I believe it's called, who have literally packed up, you know, stock and barrel or whatever they call it, and moved to OpenSim in one foul swoop. So, and one of the indicators for the closure of Inworlds that very few people who wanted new homes when Inworld closed were interested in going back to Second Life, the original platform. They're all looking on OpenSim or related platforms, and including, it seems, some rather big tribes. I think it's a better word on in Second Life itself. They're probably figuring that they got so many thousand people, so many regions of land, and it would just why not just bring the whole community out onto OpenSim somewhere.
Any
So
particular grids that people are going to?
I think in the case of the elf clan thing, I think they're just literally bringing up their own world on the hypergrid.
Ah, okay. Yep.
Um, when it comes to Inworlds, the winners appear to have been some Kitely and some Bill Blight's one, which is Open Sim World, I think it's called,
Op- op-
and
Open Sim Life, I think.
Open Sim Life, yeah,
Yep.
and DigiWorlds in particular. And I think all of those actually is probably to do with their admins are on the ball. They know what's going on. They're very good at publicity, and I think when Inworlds was in trouble, Kitely in and DigiWorlds in particular were made quite a lot of noise. I mean, Kitely weren't obvious because of the content and the marketplace, and DigiWorlds I think was just the one uh, you know whose PR but also whose community rep, should we say, stood out.
Mel,
But a number of different
yeah,
grids benefited certainly.
we got a chat in on the YouTube channel that said
Oh, lovely.
from Marcus Alexander Link saying Elf Clan is on OS Grid. So there we are.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Actually, I
Yep.
should have remembered that. Of course it is. Um, I should have remembered that, but as I say, I just tried to open the stream, and the stream wouldn't open it for some reason.
Ah, yep.
Um, yes, okay. So they've taken regions in OS Grid. OS Grid is very peculiar. I was about to come to that if the darn posts had come up, because they're approaching an anniversary and they're having fundraising donation drives and things like that at the moment. But yeah, OS Grid is a peculiar world. It's the core grid that a lot of OpenSim developers use as their own. It was one of the very first. Um, it has um, it's on the hypergrid, but it doesn't behave quite like other hypergrid worlds. It's almost as though they're being a developer's grid. They operate their own rulebook, and things like suitcase don't seem to be there. But also, people joining OS Grid are actually, in some ways, if they want to, able to join it as if they were their own standalone grid, because they can set up grids to run on their own computer and things, and those grids can be attached to the huge continent, as it were, that is OS Grid. Um, so, for example, Metaworld's regions here are actually run on my own computer, and they're on the hypergrid, but they're not attached, to any commercial grid or any main grid. On the other hand, when I had studios in Great Canada Grid, I was very much attached to Great Canada Grid, and the studios there was hosted on the Great Canadian Grid servers. The way OS Grid differs, and I don't know whether who we've got in chat can elaborate on this, but if you actually want regions on OS Grid, you can actually you can arrange to get some that are actually on servers like you would. Say when I was at Great Canada Grid, or you can actually host your own, like I do here, but you can get the address attached to the OS Grid map, so to speak. So it's probably a very good choice for people who are want to be in how do I say it? Like in the continent, in the group of regions that are OS Grid rather than just standalone. Even though to a certain extent the hypergrid connects everything together, whether you're standalone or not. Um, and as I said, OS Grid is one of these grids that has been going for a while. I'm going to open up my normal Google Plus here, just to remind me what's going on. Um, if I can find it. Trouble with Google Plus is I get so much stuff coming into it. I can't find what I need, but fortunately, a lot of them actually have pictures, so I might be able to identify the posts I was looking for. Um, Events, well, where the web grid. There seems to be quite a bit going on. I'm just going to open this quickly. It's one of Okay, this is goes to virtual world, outworlding, blood spots. I've got a redirect notice. It's trying to go to virtual outworlding, wherever that is. Um, right. Uh, right, here we are. Here we are. Caro Ferre posted on OpenSim Everything 6 hours ago. Saturday, September the 22nd at 11 a.m. I presume that's Pacific time. There's going to be the OS Donation Carnival auction. And well, this is a display thing. LIMSV24. You can put that in the map on OS Grid, and you can preview the items that are being auctioned. Take the landmarks to go to the boxes to see larger items, etc., etc. So there's an auction there. Again, this is all to raise money for OS Grid. As I said, OS Grid is a very big grid, but it's not a commercial grid in any respect. It's the developers are there and a lot of old timers there, and it's very much a community sort of grid. So manning the servers and the things that a commercial grid would normally do through its subscriptions and land tier is something that OS Grid can't do. So they do have these occasional sort of fundraising sessions to raise the money to keep the main infrastructure going. Um, Here we are. Metaverse traveler.blogspot.com had the post about crossing virtual worlds, the elf clan from Inworlds to OS Grid. Um, and that is Tyler Adams' blog, if I remember rightly. There we are, Donation Carnival. Um, okay, I know there are some other specific fundraising events going on OS Grid at the moment, but none of them are actually showing anywhere near the top of my list here. Yes, that was Tyler Adams' blog. Okay. Well, I'm gonna stop it there. Otherwise, you'll just hear me muttering while I'm scrolling down the list trying to find things that aren't showing up on my bookmark list, so to speak. Right. Okay. So, what did I do there? Your posts. Right. Yeah. This is just embeds. Good grief, 2 months ago. Yeah, for some reason, some of my links are really not up to date today. But I think that's the main thing. James, you got anything else or any thoughts on what we've covered today?
Well, the commenter in YouTube also mentioned that one of the grids people are going to is islands with a Z at the end.
Oh, that's sorry. That was the one I mistakenly couldn't put my.
Ah,
That
okay.
actually is
Yep.
that Beth or at Inworlds. Islands with a Z is basically the new one in Worlds that she is starting.
That's right. Yep.
I believe it will be running the Halcyon engine, just like Inworlds did, and it will not be Hypergrid enabled. However, I believe there is another one starting up. I don't think it's Discovery Grid. There have been a whole lot starting up as a result. There is one starting up, which again is former staff people at Inwells, whether recently or not, I'm not quite sure.
Mm-hmm.
And that one is kind of meant to be a refuge for Inwells folks, but it will be on the hypergrid and hypergrid enabled, so people will have that kind of choice. Um,
Yay.
when either of them, both of them, are fully up and functional is another matter. But things are moving apace. The Inworlds Discord channel has actually now changed to I forgot it again. Islands.
Islands.
Yes,
Okay.
that's
Right.
right. For example, and don't forget, we actually started. It's not a Metaworld product, so to speak, but I actually started and more or less keep an eye on a Discord channel called Hypergrid Adventurers and Creators, which is very loose. I mean, I could say developers and blah blah blah, but the idea is we'd have a Discord channel for the Hypergrid. because there wasn't one. Actually, since starting it a few months ago now, there have been endless more Discord channels starting up, which are dedicated to actual grids, which of course is fine if you're, a resident of an actual grid and um, want a communication channel. But ours was intended to reflect all the hypergrid. And where there are different channels for each independent grid too, if people want to use it. But
Yeah, another grid mentioned in YouTube is InfiniGrid.
InfiniGrid, yeah,
Yeah.
that's another relatively new one too. Actually, I don't need Flipboard anymore. I'm just going to close Flipboard here and quickly switch over to actually my other copy of Discord and just check out our channel here. Um, if you want to join Hypergrid Explorers and Creators is the name of the thing. If you have any method of getting hold of me personally, I can send you an invite link to it, but you can look it up and it's free to join. Um, I have a section in there called Grid Channels, and I'm always adding to it, as soon as I hear of a new grid where people want to actually chat or whatever. At the moment, I'll just give you a quick rundown. We've got Ascension, Avacon, Avalon, A Virtual World, Bubbles, Craft Grid, Derios, DigiWorlds, Discovery, Franco Grid, Freedom Grid, G Evolution, Great Canadian Grid, Green World, HG Love, Ignis Fatuus, Kalidashi, Carmelot, Kitely, Littlefield, Logicam, Lost World, Metropolis, Moebius Grid, Nara's Nuke, Next Life World, Next Reality, OS Grid, OpenSim Life, OSCC, Outworlds, Sanctuary, Social Mouse, that's a funny name for a world, Soliton, Tangle Grid, That Place Online, The Kaz, Tranquility, Vartown, VBel, that's Belgium, uh, Virtlantis, Virtual Harmony, Virtuality, that's a good one, and finally the one with the number, Third Rock Grid.
Oh yeah.
But that's the ones I've got listed so far. But of course, there are hundreds, if not thousands more. So it's easy for me to create an individual grid channel for anybody who wants to use it, for their own grid specific chat within the main server. Yeah, so yeah, quite a good handful there, I guess. Um, right, that's my main channels. Okay, hypergrid events. Okay, general. Okay, hypergrid news. There we are. Oh yes, something on the Infinity. 12th of August. What was today again?
The 9th of
Oh,
September.
oh, September. Right. Okay. Okay, that's no problem. I'm looking at something that's been posted, which is in out of date. I'm just trying to see. Okay, it's nothing obvious here. What I was looking for was some indication of any other new grids that have just arrived, but I can't see any that I haven't mentioned. I have to add Infini to that list I just read out for
Hmm.
sure.
Hmm.
Ah, right. Okay. I have a feeling there's much more, but I can't think what it is at the moment. Something, nothing that is written in front of me and highlighted, so to speak. So unless you have anything else, James, I think we can probably call it a day
Yeah,
or a night
I think
or
so.
an afternoon.
Yep.
Yeah, a day, night, or afternoon, whichever it is.
Oh, that sounds like
Okay.
somebody else's tagline.
I think it's yeah. I think it's very similar to the other bloke's
It is. It
tagline.
is.
But
That's right.
actually, it's actually like I think the tagline simply belongs on the other stage.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yes, on that more informal stage.
Hmm.
Not that this one is particularly formal these days. Okay, okay, fair enough. Now, do we do the Morecambe and Wise bit? Why don't you start it? That'd be fun.
Well, I'll give it a shot. So it's goodbye from him.
And it's goodbye from him. And we'll be back same time, same place next week. Bye for now. Yeah, that worked.
All right, we're muted and animation's on.